pastor told him, there are a lot of people who love you. He said, I'm not sure, because we had a lot of times where nobody would visit, and they hear that they should visit more often. So he enjoyed the company. He was straightening the house up himself. Nobody knows, not many knows about that part. Anyway, just him getting ready for the gathering, I say to him, you say to me, you shouldn't always be doing that. I said, you're the one doing it. So he enjoyed their company, and every time he would all go home, I looked at each one of him, and I said, so what did you think of their visit? He said, in reality, he said, I enjoyed each one of them. When I met the boys, meaning Clayton, of course, and Craig, and Carter. When I met those boys too, we were feeling that he had to approve of you, because if you were to marry his children, that's the one. Okay. If you were to marry his children, now you have to bear with me, because this is like a 25-minute thing. Anyway, he was glad to have the family come over. How many there were, how less they were, how individual they came. We always enjoyed individual visits. Mary Margaret said she's gonna visit me one-on-one. She felt bad about that, because she had to go to work. My niece. Nice to see you.
Oh, I didn't even recognize him.
She said, I didn't even
I
recognize
just
you.
scrubbed all that dirt.
I would like to introduce all of you to my children. Michelle, Matthew, Tommy, and Christine the baby. Those are my 4 children. Then we have all the other children. And all their friends. Okay, only this short.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It's okay.
You're doing good, Mommy.
You're
You're
fine.
fine.
Deep breath.
It's a good day.
That's the first time all day.
Yeah,
You're
we're
good.
celebrating today.
That's right.
Remember that.
It's a party!
Party times, happy
That's what Daddy
times.
wanted.
Yeah.
He definitely want to have a party.
Okay,
Absolutely.
hurry up and read that, we wanna get down.
Oh,
Leave me alone.
Okay.
I could cut up if I wanted to.
Okay. The important thing is I want to tell you how much I loved him. We were together 56, our anniversary would have been November 28th. It would be the 56th year. And we used to look at each other and say, how are we still married? I said, I don't know. I just don't understand. He said to me, we're just putting up with each other. Putting up with each other. I said, no. He said, in truth, I really love you. And he told me many times, I would die for you. Die for me? He said, yes, I would. I mean, he was willing to put his life ahead of me. He was always sacrificing. But in the daily routine, he worked hard. That's a lot of stuff that's saying on here. That he worked really hard. He made a living for us. Not only me, my children, and we call them my children, the 3 girls, and Christine, their mothers, they live with us. And he sees them as their children. And because of them, as they grew, they would call him Dad. Some people didn't know who's who. Was that Dad or Papa or Hero? Anyway, he loved being with our children, and then your children. I mean, Christine, where are you?
She's right here.
She's over there, Mommy.
Oh, you.
She's hiding.
So, because when they grew up, turns out that he started to marry people, and he wanted to marry anybody and everybody. if he could. But then he started to get sick. But then the last two weddings was Tiffany and Fred. And then we have Christopher and his wife, Crystal. And he just loved going to there and marrying them. And that picture here was taken when Tiffany showed him her dress. And that was a beautiful photograph. And he's smiling and he's so happy, you know. And that's the thing I want you to know, is he tried to smile a lot more. But his hardships became so awful that there were times he just couldn't get through. And, but he always went looking for another job. You know, and one job went after another that he lost. And but he was always a hard worker. And that's the important thing. He saw the world and the people in it as people to love. He wanted to walk in love, and that's what he was doing. So the best he could. And when he took care of the kids, and did as best he could, I couldn't tell you how much I appreciate what he did. Because I could see the hardships that went through him, he still stuck it out. And he always kept on going, and then he became very funny. Because he started looking at stuff, you know, and going, see the airplanes? They're around the house. Just before he passed on, he said, I think I'm going to display my planes. Yep. I said, where are you going to put them? The big one's downstairs. I think it's going to fly away. So I seen him put them on there. I said, oh, is that where you're going to put that? He's got one hidden in that cabinet. So, but he liked to make models when he first started out. And have a seat.
Yeah, I think I might.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a while.
Don't hide from me. Don't hide from me.
I'm right here.
Okay. She's my special person. I want to introduce her to you. This is Sonia. She's my, what are you, CPN? CNA. She takes care of me, very much so. Poor girl, she's
It's a
far
joy.
away. Anyway, thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And there's so much to say about him. I honestly,
That's why it's written down for you to read.
okay.
So start reading.
Start reading.
That says it all.
You're on the timer. You said 25 minutes. I got 20. Let's go.
I can use this one.
You're probably counting some of the stuff that's on there, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have your backup right here.
Understudy ready on standby.
You did a good reading,
Yes, she
and
did.
you did,
Yes.
Go ahead.
Tiffany did a wonderful job.
Yes.
She wrote the obituary for anyone who doesn't
You'll
know.
all get a copy of it. And this one here, she worked on the yard.
Yes.
I want you to tell them why you did that. Because you worked on a yard, why did you do that?
She loves you.
Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily just that. I was thinking that the one thing that Pat maybe would have wanted was for somebody to please get around to doing his garden.
Yeah. That was Pat's
I want you to photograph her.
Yeah.
Photograph her.
Tiffany's got it.
Oh, she's on
Your tag.
Okay, go ahead. So what was the reason that you did all that? Because you said something about Dad wanted to have something. Flowers.
He wanted to have the flowers for you, but he also liked to have his own thing to do. It was, I mean, he was an outdoorsy person.
He was a green thumb for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he loved to make sure that the yard looked nice, you know, and not just for, you know, y'all and, you know, for everybody to enjoy, but especially for you.
It's a lot of work.
Oh, you go crazy over the lawn.
And we're gonna put a Christmas tree on it for him.
Okay, the tree was put out by Michelle because you want to tell them why you did it?
It's just, the doctor just said he wouldn't see Christmas, and I wanted to make sure he see Christmas.
She brought Christmas too.
I brought it to him.
Anyway, I think I can find the right page.
Here, I can make sure you're on the right page. Yeah, so,
Yeah, that one.
yeah, that one.
pretty good too. It's pretty much on here too.
Now, if you feel you can't read it, Mommy, somebody else will step in and read.
It's okay.
Okay, I'm just letting you know.
Hey, no tears. Not allowed.
It's him on paper.
Yes.
Who is this man called Paul? Called Honey, called Dad, called Pap Pap, and my hero. I always call him my hero. I lived with this man, this was written on our 40th anniversary. I lived with this man for 40 years, and each day I discover more and more his endless love for me and his family. He has been misjudged so many times and never sands of time show the real truth. And yet there are still more, some who don't see him for the good man he has been. Yet always his eyes have been seeing his love hundreds of times, and they refuse to give him credit for what he has done. My prayer is, as I put the words down on this paper, that somehow the Lord can reveal the truth of this man, the truth who he was. But from the very beginning, I knew there was a tenderness about Paul. Steve, he's going Steve because of his last name. I saw him give his time and energy and put his foot forward with any job. He was a cook in the Air Force. Also, he wanted to be in air traffic. He is a person who cannot do anything that wasn't right. He would do the best job he could, even if he didn't like working there. I'm not saying that he was perfect. I'm saying all men go through different phases in their lives, and it is a real test of time. Even a child he was a hard worker, starting work at an age very young. At 6 years old, he mowed lawns. Can you believe that one? He delivered papers. All knew that was not an easy job. He would mow lawns or worked on a local theater. It was funny because he told me that. He liked giving people the flashlight to get through.
Also the delivery
Yeah.
of meals.
He said, anyway, he liked working in the theater as well as working as where they go bowling. He was the one who picked up the.
He would reset the pins at the
Yeah.
bowling alley.
And the hardest part was to know that you did your best and then not get the fair wages for what you did. Still, Paul would continue to look for work and took care of him. He took care of him and his family. Jobs literally closed out when he was there. The taxi lab job. He was to work for one day. I didn't get fired. They just closed the business. So you gotta be kidding. Anyway. He proved to each employer that he was a man of his word, and he did the job. In the middle of it all, he quietly trusted God to show him the way. Many times he missed the mark. He still went on learning and growing in the knowledge of all these jobs. They joke about a man being of many talents and no meaning to it. His talents kept growing and growing and growing. I never knew from day to day what he was going to do next. I'm serious. He had me drive a car from the dealership to another dealership. It wasn't my car. It wasn't his car. He said, honey, I need someone to drive the other car. Me? So I got into a Jeep. So that's the kind of car it was. Anyway.
What moment did
People began to realize that he is smarter than they think. And he's very smart, but he tried not to show off. but smart from the school of hard knocks. He wants so much to laugh and be happy, but they are lacking a great deal in his life because of the treatment of the people who neglected the man called Paul. He is a man of many talents. Some he has been able to continue for many years, but nevertheless they were part of him. Playing music, he played the trumpet until he lost his teeth. And he played with the most important trumpet player, Rafael Mendez. He got to sit with him on what they call the first seat, and that man came to the school, and he was chosen to play with him. Nobody took a picture of it. His family didn't take very many pictures. Anyway, he played the instruments. He played every instrument. Okay, and he was a drum major. That thing that's walking in front of you. They played everything. No, he didn't play the drum. He held that flag. He's the one. He led them, and he taught the girls how that cheerleaders.
Yes.
He taught them. That's what he did. Because
She's always
he used to ride for the barrels. He rode the horse.
Rodeo.
I hope you rode the horses and not the barrels.
Well, that's always debatable.
You're funny. She's very funny. She always comes up with something. Riding a horse around the barrels, singing in the choir, figuring out electronics, even electronics on his own. He taught himself how to fix VCRs, computers, anything he put his hands on, he put it together. He put them completely together. Some of them, he redid the speaker on his music, making VCRs any kind of electric thing. He learned carpentry. He also learned to lay carpets, and he learned to go and measure the house and go to the store and get the carpets measured. Okay, so he did that. See, I had to live with all this. I had to live with all this. There's many things. Okay. Always fixing or repairing something. A car mechanic. He didn't know nothing about it. When we first had our first car, got rid of it because of the water. That thing in the onion. It was a 56 Chevy.
Oh,
It was a wonderful car. Matter of fact, I tried to get a model, but we got a blue one. I like that car. It was a gift from my
oh,
father.
yeah.
Okay. Always fixing or repairing something. These things have amazed me about him these years. I watch him work on something, and it seems to be taking too much time. And I said to him, "What are you doing?" He said, and at the time he's talking to himself, I thought, that through the problem and fixing it. I believe this is when God gave him this answer. And these are talents. I see them as a gift from God that has gotten through him through some rough times that helped him with the fixing of stuff. Is there and then there is talent to sell things. Use a wheel and deal. If you want something sold, asphalt. You talk with people and explain a product. It may be called wheeling and dealing, but it takes a strategy and timing, and he can do it. That was important to him when trying to sell something, trying to sell it right. He enjoyed himself in the process. To me, he is a rare person, a survivor. He is truly deserves a reward for hanging in there here and especially taking care of his family. I have seen him hunting and fishing, and he went to play golf over and over again. How many times? But at that time, he ended up giving it all away. He had to sell it for us to survive. But he never got a chance to go back to them. For me to see him not have these enjoyments is sad. He rarely gets a weekend or to do what he wants, doing for others, putting himself last. Golfing, I like the idea of golfing. But for him, these things were a very short time. He does not watch sports. Yes, it wasn't a football.
So to say, I can't carry on a single sports conversation with anybody.
That's right. He didn't want to deal with the sports because he didn't want to not spend time with me and the children. Because being a football person, that TV takes over your life. So for years I had cried out, when, God, when will Paul get true vacations, and not just one? He loves to fly, and yet he never flown a real plane, but he did get into that ones, what's that?
The ones at the airfield?
Yeah.
The hang glider?
Yeah, hand glider. I didn't get in with him. But he wanted to fly. I said, he's gonna fly in heaven.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing he wants to do in heaven, was to drive the chariot. When people would come to come home, he would welcome them. He'd be the first one to say, welcome to heaven. That's what he went. He said, I'm gonna be the driver. I'm gonna be the driver. Anyhow, the most favorite thing he did, all he knew was work. His joy was in digging for gemstones, and it was taking, needing the money, and sometimes equipment. So no interest in free, nothing you get in any hobbies are free. So I'm sorry this is taking so long.
Oh, honey, you're fine.
Hero, I have 400 pictures of him fixing things all day to fix the house. I even have him sitting in a sink with her and fixing the light on top. I says, this is quite a picture. I have another one where he's hanging over the freezer. Very unusual positions. Anyway, what needed fixed, he did it. And some of his tells the story of the inner man. The man soft heart and gentleness and playfulness. The man who can be so tender and sincerely reach out and let you know he really does care, and hurts cause he cannot do more for his loved ones. He wanted so much to win the lottery, so he could get you your truck, get you whatever you needed. He was willing to take that money and use it for you. And that's the most important thing. Sad at retirement age, you can just take many of the burdens off his kids and take lots of money, so he can use that talent so many ways a man can do. I have one more. And that was that's one I don't want.
You don't want that
No,
one?
that's not,
But this was double-sided.
no, I didn't do
She's
that.
done with that, she wants to do
Okay.
it.
The important thing to write the finishing about Paul, and what Paul did. It was our 40th anniversary when I wrote this letter, and I want people to know more than what I wrote in this letter, being that he's older. He is a man of his word. The years went by, because there were still things that he wanted to do. So we went on a cruise. That was the first vacation, first main vacation. Talk about having fun. It was just the two of us.
Oh,
We were together,
No getting away.
no getting
You're in the
away.
middle of the ocean.
So when you had to go back to the room, you had to go together.
I've been on a cruise
And
before
it
too.
was wonderful. He wanted to have one cruise every year, but he couldn't do it every year, so we ended up having 3 cruises altogether. And Matthew got us into one because we didn't know if we can drive our scooters. So he said, you gotta get on a cruise boat. So he made one shorter.
It was a practice run.
Yeah, practice run, okay. And it says, that's what I said. He was so glad to be there, and we both had so much fun. No matter what, whether I rode a scooter or not. The second cruise we went on, both took our scooters. People, what are scooters? What do they call it?
Movies.
We'll call them scooters.
Scooters is what a lot of people say. Mobile chair, mobile scooter.
Yeah.
One particular scene, he was walking and I was driving, and there was a family who had seen us on both scooters. Before they turned around, they were amazed to see the man walking. It's because they had to plug it in. That's why he was walking. He couldn't go further than 400 feet. So at that point, I remember one night on the cruise, we dressed up for a fine 5-star dinner and had a wonderful time. The food, everything was just steak and all this bread. I couldn't see the variety of bread. I was fascinated with this song. There was a group of men and they sing opera, and I just enjoyed their song. But anyway, we were introduced to the cook, and the whole thing only cost us $60, $30 each. It's called a special meal. The only time you have to pay for food. It's your choice to go up there and you do it. It was up in the top floor.
I'm pretty good. My filet mignon was like $25 just for that.
Oh, really?
Was it not, baby?
Oh, this food, it was steak.
Jeez.
There was so much dessert, I took it to my room. Never ate it. But anyway, as the years went by, we wanted to make, there were little pretty towels in the room. They made of different shapes, and one time they made 2 swans. So we asked them, could we keep that towel and put it on the windowsill? It was for being in love. We always went we went during our anniversary. It was always during around the date of November. We wanted to make a tradition of going on cruises. As the years went by, we only were there for about 4 times. Then one year, he had gone on a limousine ride to surprise me to get to the airport. I was shocked. There was a limousine in my driveway. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I want to surprise you. He loves surprises. I don't like being surprised. But that was such a fun thing to do. And to add to this, Tiffany sent us to a dinner in the high-rise hotel.
Bentley's.
What was it called?
Bentley's.
Bentley's on
27.
27th floor.
Mm-hmm.
It was, she sent us a card, which was an invitation. And the Gilbert said, you're invited to this restaurant. Never been there before. And she had a friend of hers who drove a really fancy car. It was more of a
Like it was like a SUV, but it was a luxury SUV.
And so we so enjoyed that. I'm gonna go there again.
I'm going to.
And I'll be with them. I'll have him with me. Okay. Anyway, I want people to know that. Also, I wanna tell you that whenever we go to the ocean, he loved to look at the ocean over and over again. And so one time we went in March to the ocean, it was so cold, but he was standing out there looking at the seagulls.
Yeah.
And they were flying over him, and I got a great picture on his. He looked good, and he looked like he was having a good time. But when we were on a cruise, he would stand on the deck, and he would just watch the ocean. I said, "Are you doing this again?" And then other times he was in the room, and he looked at the ocean. He really loved the ocean. He wanted to go more often. He missed being going there in the last few years. That was the only time he was truly able to get his reward, and I was glad to share it with him. That was the idea of the cruises and everything. We enjoy the ocean and shopping, and generally the time together on a vacation. Oh, you should go on a vacation. You should go on a vacation because you're alone. And you will enjoy each other's company, whether you like it or not. It heals a lot of marriages. I'll take this page here. I want to tell you, I want this to be on tape. When we met in the Air Force. I got sent to Orlando, Florida, and he was there a year before. So when we got there, being that he was a cook, of course I didn't know him. I saw two other men, but I didn't like them. But one day I got a phone call, and this guy called and he said, "Would you like to go out with me?" I knew him nowhere. But one of the other girls said, "Oh, that's Steve. He's one of the cooks. He makes great scrambled eggs." Great scrambled.
How do you like your eggs in the
Wouldn't know it, he
morning?
never quit for us.
But anyway, whenever I went into the chow hall, that's what they call it, I stood in line. I was a new WAF on a ship, or in this place. All the guys became quiet. And I turned around and said to the girl, "Why are they so quiet?" He said, "Because of you." I said, "What's going on?" They were looking at me. I thought, "Oh my God." It was the oddest feeling. Then they started talking. I guess they thought it was okay. Anyway, and whenever he called me, he said, "Would you like to go on a date?" Sure enough, I said, "Sure, why not?" Because Carol gave her word. I would not go out with anybody that was decent. She said he's a very nice guy. He's a very nice guy. Anyway, I just enjoy it. When we went on this date, the first date, he had no car.
No car?
No car.
I said, because all the other guys parked their cars and stepped forward and then met the girls. When this man stepped forward, I thought, is that my guy? You know, whoever he is. I said to myself, oh God. He had a baggy shirt on because he did not have good civilian clothes. He always wore his uniforms perfectly fitted. So he looked like a different person. So anyway, I says to him, "Oh, that's okay, we can ride the bus." See what a good person I am.
Yes.
I was used to riding buses. So we caught the bus and rode into town and we had dinner at McDonald's. It was wonderful, very wonderful.
That explains a lot.
Daisy, like
Yeah.
respect to you, didn't
Even a
it?
cheeseburger.
That's right, we had a cheeseburger.
Yeah,
I
wonder
like-
how we knew that.
I used to like those things. Anyway, it turns out that, this was an unusual date. Not because of McDonald's. After we left McDonald's, we went to the theater. Tell me the movie. I have no idea what that movie
We
was.
know.
I'm wondering about this guy sitting next to me. I'm sitting here 2 hours with this man. And then I thought, well, what are we gonna do now? So we left the theater and we decided to go window shopping. The stores were closed. So we decided to go
That sounds
from
like
window
the
to
Notebook.
window to
I
window.
know.
And I thought, well, this is fun, because we got to find out what what we liked. So that was a pretty cool day. So we went to shopped, and then we thought, hey, why don't we go all night bowling? So the date continued. So we went all night bowling. Boy, was I tired. So when we realized that the buses were closed, no buses to get back to the base. My thought was, oh, we gotta walk there. It's 4 miles. 4 miles. But we decided to have breakfast at,
McDonald's?
I think this was back before McDonald's did breakfast.
The restaurant.
Maybe why they
Jimmy
did
Dean.
it.
Yeah.
Maybe he suggested.
It was Jimmy Dean that had breakfast food.
Jimmy Dean.
So we had a wonderful visit there, but we were getting tired. And I thought, oh my God. So we've been to how many places now? I said,
And be
well,
in mind, this is 2 soldiers that's got to get back to base.
Yeah.
yeah, we were supposed to be, I worked at 8 o'clock. So we started walking, had no idea if it would work out for us or get there on time. We got there on time. I went and changed my uniform, put my uniform on, which I really love that uniform.
What time was it by the time you got back to base?
It happened just before 8 o'clock.
Oh, gosh.
When the jobs started. Anyway, for my sake, when my superior saw me, I said to him, or he said to me, why are you acting that way? Because I'm so tired. And I thought, I should really tell him the truth, you know. I said, well, I went on a date last night and we went to 5 places and then we walked back to the base. You did? I said, yeah, we did. We had a wonderful time. We just talked and talked and talked and talked. So when we with him, he says to me, well, if you're that tired, go home. So he let me go home. But Paul had to work as a cook there, and that man would never let him off. So he he had to work the whole day. So that was very interesting.
Well, let me ask you one thing. When you got in the chow hall and you got the eggs and all, did he put a little bit extra on your plate?
You know, it's funny, I didn't even know who he looked like,
Right.
because I just went through the line a couple times, but he also had great chocolate milk. They serve the best eggs that you can get,
Uh-huh.
and the butter, and he used to have this grill that big, and he had this spatula like that big, and flipping them over, and he wouldn't finish until he got it looking fluffy. And also he worked at the hospital base to cook there. It turns out that the men who were the sergeants and captains, they would bring food in and let him add it to the food, like a fruit juice and all that fruit. And he said, I'll do it for you. Well, they found out about that, and they got mad at him for that. Yeah, but he wanted it to please everybody. See how he was? So I thought, well, that's great. Okay, because the one guy, he never promoted him. He was always felt bad about that. He never got his second stripe. Matter of fact, because we went to see about furniture, and the furniture store said we can order it. So we ordered it. Then we phone called just before we got on the airplane, and he told us no, because he don't have second stripe. But we figured out the money to do that, you know. But so guess what? He asked me to marry. We had gotten an older car. We did get a car. It was 1949. And I got it for $50 from the credit union. And we were so excited to have a car. I didn't care.
What kind was it?
I don't know. Chevy. 59 Chevy.
59. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, nice car, heavy, but then when it fell apart, he didn't know how to fix it. Anyway, he asked me to marry him when we were sitting in that car. And when I was leaning against his chest, and he says, "Will you marry me?" I'm thinking, did you say something? I said, yes, I want to marry you. I said, sure.
Yeah.
How long was
No
it?
qualms.
How long did it take for him to propose to you?
Oh, it turns out during that, in that car, like, that's when he
Well, how long since you started dating? Did he ask you to propose after he started dating you?
oh yeah.
You got married in 90 days, right?
We got married 90 days. Yeah.
There's a TV show about that, y'all.
There was nothing wrong either. These people would count their fingers, you know. But,
There was a lot of lust. I do believe.
thing was, we had already gone to the store and picked out rings. And he said, he asked me to marry him, and no. Then he married me, or then he's gonna marry me. We went and looked for rings. In the process, it turns out that he went and picked 3 rings. And he said, one of those 3, you won't know which one. That's the one you got for me. And it turns out it was a perfect diamond. And I'm still wearing it. It disappears. Anyway, it's such a little diamond.
Goodness.
It may be little, but it means the most to me. This ring, it means a lot.
Beautiful.
It turns out, take that one off. Here, come on.
You said it would.
So, he told me when he picked the rings, whatever one he liked, I would get it. So when this is so funny. He brings me the ring. Why did he bring it to me? I was outside when I was walking the base. I was in uniform. And when he brought the rings to me, I said, "Oh, there they are," you know. So he put the ring on my finger. Wasn't that wonderful? Then he dropped it before he got it on my finger. It fell into the grass, and I had to search for it. A good half an hour went by. And I was supposed to go to a class. So we were not allowed to kiss because you don't fraternize with civilian clothes. He was dressed in civilian clothes because he went to the store, and I was dressed in a uniform. I said, I follow the rules. I can't kiss you. I felt so bad. And so when we went to the school, we got hid in a corner. Look like sneaky people. We hid in the corner, and then he kissed me. You know, so while he's kissing me, guess who showed up? The teacher. He come around the corner, he says, Airman Betts, what are you doing? I said, we just got engaged. He said, oh, you got engaged here in the building? I said, no, we did it outside. I said, but I couldn't kiss him. He said, why did you kiss him? Because that's the rules. He said, shit with the rules. He said, if you want to kiss him, you can stay in the hallway and kiss him. So then I went to the class, and the next thing I knew, the teacher had told everybody, and they were applauding. I felt so funny about that. They applauded it, and I was like, isn't that sweet?
That was sweet.
Yeah, very sweet. Anyway, it turns out that when this story is written important, because I tell everybody about it. Everybody, the girls who work for me, I tell them the story. I tell them about the 90 days and the dating for that day, how long it was that day, and all the dropping the ring.
You won't tell them about your party days.
Yeah, no party days.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
she's
that's
told.
story.
She's
Yeah.
told them.
Even when she's
I
on
know
the table.
secrets, guys.
We're gonna come back from the second show with this.
So, we chose to get married on Thanksgiving. They said, we can go there because it was a 10-day holiday. It took 10 days to get married. Anyway,
It's called a honeymoon.
he got on the plane, but just before he got on the plane, that's when the furniture company called. We had got an apartment upstairs from the waitress. Her name was Jan, and which reminds me, I know we knew that. We go to this restaurant. It's one of those metal restaurants years ago. So we were in there eating many times. We just because we can walk there. We can walk there. Also, on the base there was a restaurant, a bowling alley, and a theater. So you could utilize them. But he chose them. We could have gone there instead. Paul said, "Get on the bus instead," which we had more fun. But it turns out that when we were in that restaurant, turns out that there was a jukebox, a little jukebox, and it was on the table. And he says to me, "Hey, we don't have a song." I said, "No, I didn't know any songs." So he says, "I'll pick one."
What did he pick?
He picked the song that was called "Welcome to My World." Won't you come on in? Miracles, I guess, still happen now and then. Step into my heart and leave your cares behind. Welcome to my world, built with you in mind. Knocking, the door shall open. Seeking, you shall find. It was a scripture.
Yeah.
And I love that. So, and then it says, seeking, you shall find. You know, I know that song off by heart.
Ask and it shall be given. Ask and it shall be given.
Yes, and it'll be given the key to your heart, my heart. I was given the key to his heart, and then it says, I will be with you with arms unfurled. So now we know that he's saying it. I'm looking forward for him, because I said to him when he passed on, I said, "Thank you for welcoming me to your world." Because he also sometimes said, "I wish it was better." I said, "Honey, you can ask for better. I mean, you are such a good man, and I enjoyed your company. So anytime you say something negative, I always tell you, don't say that. Because you were so gifted, many talents, so many things he did. And it just was wonderful. It was an adventure for me.
Yeah.
We used to say adventure after adventure, you know. But then after he chose that song, I was so pleased because I never heard it before. You know, it became our favorite song, of course. And one of our friends sings like Elvis. And every time he goes to sing, he always sings "Welcome to My World" first. So wonderful. I mean, I cannot thank the Lord for choosing that song. I have trouble. Other songs, "My Woman, My Wife," which is a good one too.
Heard that one.
Then there's one that Celine sings with Pavarotti. It says, "I love you, but I hate you."
Yeah.
There are times we had to say that, you know. Like I said, we never would say divorce. We tell everybody, when you're going to get married, stay with the Lord. Do not tell a lie, and don't say you'll get divorced. Don't ever use that word. And we always stood by that thing. One time we were asked to divorce. Someone told us that we should do that. I told them, no, I love this man, no matter what's going on. So anyway, it turns out that when we chose to get married, and on Thanksgiving time, Paul got in the car, a plane, and when he got in the plane, he went home to get his car. He had a car. It was a yellow Buick, but it had a big engine in it. So he told me whenever he'd come to Pennsylvania, where we got married with my family, and my mom and sister planned it all, because it was only a 10-day leave. So we had to plan Thanksgiving and the wedding day and figure out all the legal papers and everything. And but when he got the car, so I said, so when he told me about it, when he was coming to my house, the police stopped him because he was going too fast. So the cop says, "Where are you going such a busy?
Your son-in-law.
Where are you going so fast?" And he said, "I'm going to get married." I thought, oh. Yeah, that's what he was trying to tell the cop. He said, "Well, if you want to get married, then you better slow down." So sure enough, he got there safe. But when that time happened, my sister had given me a bridal shower, just a few people, and then from there we had the bridal shower. And the very next day, we had to go to the store and buy a dress. And I told my mom, don't worry about buying that dress, because I had some real pretty pink ones. And I said, I'm not gonna buy a dress. Marlene, you will buy the dress, because your twin sister got married just a year before. She was on a year, and she got married in May of '63. So being my sister, she could not wear lace because her skin would break out. So she wore a satin dress. But she had a bustle. She's so cute. She turned around and said, "See my bustle?" I just love that.
I'm gonna take
Yeah, go ahead. And it turns out from that, they had given me the bridal shower, which I thought was very nice, and I couldn't help it. But then we went so my mom and sister made the hospital very nice, but his mother and father didn't come. His mother was angry because her daughters got married before that. And she said, if I'm not at their wedding, then nobody else, I'll never go. So she did not get in that car. And I really wanted to meet her. But my mom was all prepared for that. My mom made a beautiful tablecloth. It took her 5 years to make this table. And she put that on Margie's table and for my table. I was so honored because I watched her put it together. One row was not working on it, she'd tear it out. But anyway, I said to her, "Why are you making this pretty tablecloth?" She said, "Because someday you're going to get married." "Oh, you think so?" "I don't know." I joined the Air Force for being proficient. Okay. Anyway, whenever when we got to that point where we went to the store and we went to buy this dress, it's that dress you see in that picture there. It's the first dress we picked. When I saw it was beautiful, I said I didn't want to take it off. You know, it was the first dress. It was so expensive. In that year, in 1964, the dresses cost as much as they do now, $1,000 or more. So they told her it was cost $300. And I told her, "Mom, there's no way." I didn't know, she didn't have that kind of money, because my sister spent it all on her wedding, 300 people. So it turns out that the woman, the sales clerk said, "Hey, I gotta check something out." So she went up front and she came back to the room. We're sitting there looking at that dress. And she came back and said, "Why would she leave?" Turns out that the dress was on sale because it was considered last year's original. It was on sale for $50. It was a $300 dress. And it's a beautiful dress. Isn't that a blessing?
Yes.
See, $50 for the car, $50 for the dress. It kept happening all over the time. So then whenever, when I had bought the dress, when we went home from the store, Paul's car was in the driveway. I was so excited. I said, "He told me he had a yellow car." So I did recognize it. So, because they knew I would get married, they got everything planned for it. So I got in the driveway. I said, "Oh, there's my Paul." I didn't call him Steve though. I said, "There's my Steve." And I ran in the house and I went to hug him and I fell on his lap. You don't do that kind of thing. We were not married yet. I said, "Dad, we're gonna get married next 2 days from now." Because the next day was Thanksgiving. So it was like, "You gotta be kidding me." I said, "No." And he said, "Okay, I'll let you sit on his lap." I said, "Well, thank you very much." And then we were, that first night we were there, my twin sister was wearing a leopard robe, and I wore a leopard robe. And we both had our hair set. So I came out of the room one time, and he was hugging my sister. So I says,
He couldn't tell you apart.
yeah, good robe.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, couldn't tell us apart. And I said to
They're
him,
twins.
"What's you doing there?" He said, "I'm hugging my girl." I said, "Oh, well, I'm glad she's your girl. She's married, you know, with a baby." I thought it was so funny. He was so embarrassed. But that's okay, I forgive him. So the next day was Thanksgiving, which was very nice with family. Yeah, all of them. They came to celebrate the holiday, as well as the future coming up with getting married. So the next day was Friday, and we had to get our birth certificates. Turns out I didn't know Paul's age. His birth certificate would have to have it. And it turns out he was 20 and I was 21. He talks about robbing the cradle. On me, period. I thought, you gotta stop kidding. But it turns out that we didn't know what to do about that birth certificate. It turns out that's why God left his mother and father at home. Because they sent that birth certificate, special delivery on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh,
So we were
wow.
able to go downtown and get the papers and everything. Thank God, because we wouldn't have gotten married. The next day was Saturday, and that's when the wedding, we got the wedding. And there wasn't a lot of people there, but I didn't care. And there's a picture of me with us standing outside, and he kisses me on the forehead.
That's sweet.
That's how I knew. I knew for sure this was the right man, because I knew he just loved me. He looked at me completely straight in the eye, every picture. He just wanted to be near me. And it was just so wonderful. And so we got married Thanksgiving Day, and then but you know, the furniture company turned us down. We had no furniture. So what happened is, my mom and dad, they had furniture in the basement, a maple dining room set with even a china closet. Yeah.
What about the bed?
Well, no, Paul had his bed when he went back to get his car, and when we got married, and then we went to their home to visit, because I wanted to meet them. He also took a U-Haul to put his bed in it. So that's all the furniture we had was his bed. And the apartment was very nice too, it's upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out that since there was no furniture, my sister told my mom. And then when I came back, because we went back to Pennsylvania to say goodbye to everybody, and then all of a sudden, my sister says, "Mom knows all about it." So she filled that U-Haul. I mean, everything was in there. My silverware, anything I needed. It was wonderful. And the gifts from the shop.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was wonderful. But from that point on, we went home and drove. We had a honeymoon at one of these hotels. It was a very cheap hotel, but to me it was like a mansion, you know, because it was our first night. And it was so wonderful, because that feeling of when you got married, it was so beautiful, and the warmth in your heart and everything, we always remember that. So whenever, when we went over to see his parents, then we went back to Florida, and that's where my mother's furniture was in my house now. Okay, so that was on November 28th. The year is 28. But turns out New Year's Eve was just a few days, 2 days after Thanksgiving, the 28th. So for 2 days. And it turns out that I was having a good time at that party. There's only 4 people, you know. I had a mistake of climbing the table and dancing on it.
Oh my
I never did that
God.
stuff. I had drank one beer. I couldn't.
Must have been a really big beer.
One,
In a tiny woman.
one,
Yeah.
That's it.
and you danced on the table.
Yeah.
My
Thank
God.
God she's
No,
got
she
me
didn't dance
one.
on the table, she drank the other ones under the table.
It was, like I said, it was New Year's Eve. And that night, I conceived a child. My oldest child was there.
That's why I'm known as the lush baby.
Yeah, she's a lush baby. It was only 2 days. Only 2 days went by, and I got pregnant. And I knew I was pregnant when I woke up.
That happened to me one time.
Yeah, I knew it. I'm not gonna tell why.
Yeah.
But I knew I was pregnant.
Oh,
I
yeah.
said, like it or not, I'm pregnant. I said, no, it's too soon. Because he wanted to spend time with me to get to know each other.
You just got
Usually you
married.
do that
I
before you get
What,
married.
3 months wasn't enough?
I guess no.
I guess not.
Okay. But that's what started our life new with having our baby. That was Michelle.
Oh.
Yeah, she's the
And
first
here
one.
you are.
She's a wonderful child.
Well, there's a girl, 2 boys, which is Matthew, and then Tom. Tom's having trouble.
Tom's a good boy.
He's tired.
Tom's
He's
getting
tired.
hungry.
You were getting hungry.
Yeah, I know you're hungry. But
Leave Tom alone, I'm looking at him.
and then Christine was born. So the girls are 5 years apart from each other, and the boys they're 1 day apart.
What about the gender? Remember, Dad? Whenever you
He
got
always
pregnant with
knew.
each of us.
Oh, he always knew right. He always knew when I was pregnant. He always named it's going to be a girl or a boy. And every time he was right.
Who did
Every
that?
time anybody was
dad.
pregnant, he pointed
He
out to
always
them.
knew. Yep.
He never missed it. I
Let,
don't.
let me tell you one more thing. You said he only got 1 stripe when he was in service, but right now, he's a full bird colonel.
Yeah, I
Thank
like
you.
that.
Thank you. He was really. But anyhow, from that point on, we started our life with children. The end.
No, you're still going.
If she were born, you'd be having your baby right now.
How about we get you something to eat?
He was teasing.
I know everybody's getting
All right.
hungry, but let's go and watch the video real quick and then we'll eat.
Hold on.
We have
Before
something
you
else
get
that we
up.
want
Oh,
to do.
yeah, he's got, okay.
We have something for you. Well,
What I did that while everybody eats.
Oh my Lord, what is
It's a Cadillac.
Tommy, go ahead, take it for you, mommy. No, don't you do it. Mom, you okay? Mom, you okay?
Yes.
It's okay.
Just
Just
breathe.
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 Yeah, breathe.
what is it, Tom?
Blow out for
Yeah,
me.
bring it back.
Blow out.
Breathe.
You got, now take in, blow out your mouth. You're good.
It's okay.
You've
You're
done
good.
wonderful
Just move for a
today.
second.
Happy
It's
day.
okay.
Yes, it has been.
All is well.
It's okay.
It's okay.
All is well.
Yes, yes, you can.
Yes, it is. Okay, just breathe.
We can come.
Just breathe.
Thank God you had him the years you did.
Okay. They just fixed the ring so you have daddy. That was
See,
Right.
it
Oh, y'all just,
you
you got the ring, you got a ring fixed.
She had to have it cut off.
He had to have it cut off.
Yeah.
Oh, and it fits her now.
His wedding ring all the years.
Thank you.
Just to know the significance.
Yeah. His hand had been swollen
There you
for the
are.
last.
You wear that ring.
Heart attack.
You wear that ring and wear it all the time.
They're passing it.
Okay.
My
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be in the middle of the video,
No,
guys.
You're
no.
good.
You were where you were supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
That ring, of course, is my husband's second one. This one had to be cut off.
Okay. There you go, matching.
Blinged up.
All right. He's a sneak, isn't he?
The last thing I would have thought is thought I'd fix it. so close. I appreciate all you've done for me and beyond that, because I have seen, Daddy was asking, honey, they'll take care of you. And I kept thinking, maybe there'd be a problem. Never a problem. That one there, he's constantly telling me, it's okay, I'm always with you. And even when he's sleeping, he wakes up and he comes over here and checks us out. So I wanted to thank my children and all my friends for coming and just enjoy the day.
Okay, I'm gonna roll you forward so we can go watch the video, okay?